burden. The mirror of fate has revealed your ignorance.
Enjoy this moment. The champion deserves the honor.
Such a burden. Look into my eyes and your everything will be revealed. The judgment of the gods shall not be repeated.
Starters. We are using the hero trait Oracle Thea, Wisdom of the Gods, or Thea 1, as some members of the community might call her. Traits revolves around generating and spending blessings, mainly focus blessings. Therefore, stocking a high amount of focus blessings is a very strong way to scale her damage. For offense, we are using fist damage and crit damage, as well as attack speed. And for defense, we are using armor bases, focusing on getting really high armor, life regen, and life regain in terms of recovery. As well, we are using the Frost Shield defensive skill, which is a very strong way of mitigating physical damage and cold damage, which is a very high part of the damage we receive in the game, especially physical. Also, the new boss does a lot of cold damage, so it's very good there as well. To level this character, I would suggest the game suggests you to go into Goddess of Knowledge. From then you would go into Magister and then Arcanist. In Goddess of Knowledge you will pick Beacon first, and then you will pick Insight for more damage. In Magister you will pick Punch to get a +1 focus blessing, and once you reach the 36 points, you can pick Play Safe to make your spell boost charge a lot faster. At this point, you should be really, I think, level 68. No, 36 plus 20, that's actually 56. Then for your third tree during leveling, you will pick Arcanist. And just basically get, skill radius, cold damage here, up until you reach level 80. And what you will use is Ring of Ice with whatever supports they suggest you to take. You will be very limited here up until level 55. So whatever you unlocked, you just put it into Ring of Ice. You'll also almost always, I think, whenever you do your first Void Rift, you will drop a unique weapon. A unique piece. More often than not, you will get a Spring Resurrection, which is an amazing leveling weapon, and you can use that up until level 80 without any issues. Now, once we reach level 80, we have basically two options to take. One is we switch straight onto Whirlwind, or if the +1 channel weapon is not available, if the +4 channel weapon is not available or is very expensive, then we can play Berserking Blade while farming to get the +4 channel weapon. So what you will do is, once you reach level 80, you will go to the auction house and you will search for 200 swords. You put here 10 minimum channel stacks. You don't need to get +4 because you can reroll it, but if you don't have the embers to reroll the mod from 3 to 4, just get a +4. And what you'll do here is just buy the cheapest one. The base doesn't matter as much at this point. Wolf Soul is the best base, but whatever other base works at this point. You just want to, this is the only mandatory thing. what you will do then is, I'm actually going to, let's do just a live crafting. So it will probably not be item level 82, because 82 will be more expensive. It will probably be 76, something like that, which means you're most likely going to be locked onto getting tier 2 affixes, tier 2 or tier 3. So it doesn't really matter, but what you will do is roll this until you get at least Gear Fizz and attack speed. That's all we need to get it started. Either Gear Fizz hybrid or Gear Fizz percentage. So here we have Gear Fizz, but no attack speed. So I'll keep rolling. If you're really short on Flame Sand, you will just settle for this. But you really want the attack speed for the feels good. Okay, nothing there. Okay, armor pen is good, but okay. Hit gear attack speed. We didn't hit gear fizz, but I'm gonna take this for the moment. You don't want to lock 2 prefixes, but because you know the cost rises very high. So there we have the gear fizz, but we're losing the gear attack speed. I'm gonna do just one of these. Okay, so we have gear fizz, we have attack speed, we have multi strike. This is tier 3, so this is very realistic for you to get in on a level 72 base. What we'll do now is, at this point, I don't really want to spend FE. So that's why you'll just go to the enchanter.
Oh yeah! Here for some new gear?
And you'll add percentage gear physical damage, the highest you can get, which is only 10 flame sand. And this will give you a, what is this? 366 DPS weapon. This is very good enough for you to do T7 with this. Like, you could upgrade this to maybe make it become a 400 DPS weapon, but you don't need more than 400 DPS weapon to clear T7s. So this is what you need to get started. From then, you also need a +1 amulet or a ring that has a +1. The ring is called Wind Breath. Wind Breath. There are 2 of them. You want the minimum. I think it's dispersion. Yeah, this 1 minimum channel stack when equipped on the left string slot. So you'll buy one of these, or if they are again too expensive, you go for a necklace. You will go for a rare necklace, and you will look for whatever base. You don't care about the base, and you go for minimum channel stacks. One of them. These are already crafted, so don't mind them. Just look for any, the cheapest one you can get. Minimum channel stacks +1. And with that, you're all set. What you will use then as your initial setup is, channel preparation and the other supports I suggested in the initial guide. If the contingency plan is, if this is too expensive at the beginning of the season, or you're at a point where you can't really afford it, you will use Berserking Blade with the same tree that we're using with these supports. Crit damage, mark, slash do it, raging slash. You could add increased area of effect for any of these, but this is basically the setup that you will use until you get the channel weapon to switch to Whirlwind. So let's go back to what I was actually using. Whirlwind. Card. And yeah, this is the setup. So these are your supports in the end game. Before you're at the end game point, for instance, if you're using Praise for Injury for Explode, you need Tendon Slicer here. Armor damage mitigation penetration, it's a super strong mod, very, very strong to get. So you want this, not instead of mark, but maybe instead of critical damage increase. Guard is defensively irreplaceable. Steamroll gives you a lot of radius and an insane damage multiplier, so I wouldn't replace this either. Raging Slash is also an insane damage multiplier. Mark is 40% additional crit damage taken from the enemies. So this is actually stronger than this. So crit damage increase is basically the weakest. If you don't want the defense, you could replace guard, but I will suggest you keep guard and instead change this for Tendo Slicer. Then we're using Frost Shield with Rhythm. So I'll show you here. Basically, Rhythm procs every 6 seconds and Frost Shield lasts a little bit longer than 6 seconds, so it's basically 100% uptime with that. Pretty good. Why wouldn't you go for it? Leap Attack. You have several options here. I like Harden for the, more mitigation. I like my builds to be tanky. Then I like Quick Mobility. It makes it very smooth to use. And you have here the option of... I added Blinding for a little bit more defense, but you could add Periodic Burst. Every few seconds you get a burst of attack speed. You could add Emergency Avoidance. You could add Mark, but I found using Mark here rather clunky and not really worth. Again, Mark is a 30% multiplier, so it's not so bad to use on your main link. And I rather have 100% uptime on Mark without having to, during bosses, do this on top of them. I think it's annoying. So that's why I didn't go for the Mark there, but you could totally do that. And I'm using Fearless Warcry. Only use this once you get the instant Warcry belt. Because if not, this has a cast time and it's annoying to use. I don't like it when it has a cast time. I'll show you. What you basically is you're spinning and then you stop what you're doing. You do that. Whereas if you have the belt, you spin, and then you see it stops you for a split second, but doesn't stop your character from moving, for instance, right? See, you can still move. So it's way smoother. I wouldn't use this without instant work, right? But worth it because it's a huge multiplier as well. So enemies, well, the way Warcries work, they count the number of enemies nearby the skill area for how much power they will give you. And the power, basically, they count bosses as 5 enemies per enemy, you see? Normal and magic monster is 1, rare is 2, and legendary monsters, basically bosses, are 5 monsters. So you're getting 5 times 12% additional damage. Pretty good. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's very strong. Now this is a +5 because of skill setup and stuff, but it's a very strong modifier. I do need to use cost conversion here because I don't have enough mana to cast it. But then again, there isn't much here you could use. You could add increased area. There's nothing left. You don't need this because you don't need cooldown recoveries. I guess you could use the cooldown recovery speed, but you don't need Lion's Roar because this makes it cast faster. You get the plus charges and it starts to get bigger, the area, but I didn't find it too useful, this one. Powerful Warcry is really good because it increases the buff effect. So yeah, very strong to go for. Bull's Rage. Bull's Rage is the best damage multiplier for any melee build. I wouldn't not use it in your builds. So yeah, go for this. Self-sacrifice makes it so Bull's Rage, instead of just costing you a ton of life, from the get-go, it starts draining your life slowly. But you know, we have recovery to make for it, mania for more effect, more damage, mass effect for more effect, and basically be able to use 2 in quick succession for a burst window. Curse on hit, vulnerability. Vulnerability is increased damage taken. Very good to have. Precise, you can eventually get this. Before precise, just use regular curse on hit. This basically, precise is more damage. It's just that. Abysmal hatred, more damage for the curse and seal conversion because, you know, we don't have mana. The aura setup. Now for the aura setup, you would, before you get restrained, you would run something like this. Thunder Spirit, like this. And probably a lower level rejuve, like level 14, level 15. I wouldn't not use rejuvenation. It's very good. So try to fit it in the build. Whatever level you can get, the extra regen is worth. Eventually get precise. Always, you know, every aura you can get precise, just get it. It's better. Except weapon amp. You don't need precise weapon amp because of the weapon base we're using. This only adds the paralysis on hits, but you know the World Soul has paralysis on hits, so precise weapon amp doesn't do anything for me. I'm using it because I dropped it, and it dropped level 21, whereas I had just a level 20 regular weapon amp. But you could use a level 21 weapon amp. It doesn't have to be precise. Fearless, precise fearless is good because it adds attack speed. Acuteness imbue is just a little bit more damage. Rejuve adds this, the life restoration speed. You know, it makes your regen go a little bit faster. And this is 3% additional damage. All of these scale with aura effects, so that's why they're really powerful to get. So in an endgame setup, in a min-max setup, you want to get these. And finally, I'm using Preciser for your hit. This is usually cheap, but if it's expensive, you just could drop it or just use the regular version. Again, this is just more damage. It's nothing game breaking if you don't have it. And what I'm doing is, again, seal conversion, burst of anger, which is attack speed and movement speed, and mania for, you know, more damage. Candles. There are a lot of things you can get on candles. I like aura effect. I like attack speed. I like movement speed. I like less damage taken. I like regen. And any additional damage modifiers you can get from tier 0 candles is really good. I managed to get this. But, you know, this will vary a lot between anyone because candles are not tradable. You're at mercy of what you get dropped, and you're at mercy of what you get combined. So I wouldn't. So don't try to copy this. Just, you know, if you get a candle that looks nice, put it on your character. Go take it for a test run, and if that's better than what I have here, then it's great. But what I would aim for is stuff like seal mana. Seal mana is good. Deep strike damage, armor damage, mitigation, penetration is good. Kill radius is good. Curse effect is really good. Resistances, movement speed. There is one that is really, really OP, which is 2% movement speed, attack speed, and I think character size for every kill you do. So that basically is like having the Trial of Might active always on your character. You start becoming larger. You cover the whole screen. Is amazing for mapping. So if you can get that, definitely get that. I haven't been able to get it yet, but yeah, I would go for that. Now, okay, gear. So for gear, we're looking for the following stats. Minimum channel stacks up to +7. You need to get that wherever on your gear. There are several places you could get it, and I'm gonna be listing them on screen right now. You need resistances, because if you don't have resistances, you die in every single map, and I hate dying. You need some life, armor, and regen. Again, we're stacking that. We're stacking regen. Again, I have 41% armor. which is 61% phys mitigation. It's huge, and 36% elemental mitigation. Regarding regen, I'm regaining this 581 life regen per second, and I have regain, which is every time you hit, you get back 20% of the damage, not 20% of missing life. I don't know if it's based on the damage or maybe just, based on the hit. And every 0.5 seconds. So every half a second, you will gain a percentage of your missing life. It's very good for recovery. It makes us literally, not literally, but almost immortal when doing, the Trial of Might, where you have the ground degen. I don't really fear any of those. You want active skill level because Whirlwind scales absurdly well with skill levels. So, for instance, you would see 260% weapon damage at level 26. If I go to level 27, I get to 281. So it's 20%, 21% more damage for a skill level. So you want to prioritize active skill level. And, if you can get a level 21 Whirlwind, if you drop it, great. They are very rare to drop and are always very expensive. I haven't been able to get one this season. But, if I wanted to push it further, I would. Maybe for POB 5, I will. Max focus blessings, attack speed, crit damage, skill radius, movement speed, and dexterity or strength to balance the stats. That being said, this is the gear I'm using right now. Base yourself on the stats I listed, but this is what I've been able to get based on, roughly on those stats. The helmet has the skill radius, skill level. Notice that Whirlwind is not physical. It's not a physical skill. So +1 to physical, +3 to physical won't work here. You need, either attack, melee, area, channeled, or just active. Active skill will work. So melee works. Aura effect for more damage. +2 active, regen, elemental resistances for more defense. This is a very good balance of offensive defense in my opinion. The amulets, active skill, injury buffer. Injury buffer is really good for you to avoid one-shots a little bit. This mod seems to me to be really strong. This is basically for us at the moment like 61% crit damage worth in a single mod. Pretty good. I like this base for the regen speed, but if you don't have the space, just go for wherever. And what we need here is fervor and life. Warcry cast immediately. You could tier 0 this. I don't think it's necessary. I think I would tier 0 the resistance or the additional taken, or get life, erosion rest, dexterity again here for the balancing act. And the boots, I want as much movement speed as possible, so that's why this is the only tier 0 here. But if you wanted to craft something stronger than this, go for tier 0 MS, go for tier 0 life, and you could get more avoidance, you could get more armor here. But the boots are really good for resistances because there aren't any super strong suffixes in my opinion. For the ring, you could use a chaotic ending that has some focus blessing, critical damage per focus blessing, or fervor effect. That is an option. That will be cheaper than these crafted rings, and it will be almost as good. It will be less defense and just slightly less damage, but much cheaper. But once you can craft it, go for prisoner ring for the crit damage. Focus blessing stacks is what we want tier 0 always in the rings, because this is like the best place we can get +2 focus cheaper. The weapon can get focus blessings, but you want so many things on the weapon. You want every single affix to be relatively perfect, so it's very hard for you to get tier 0 this, tier 0 focus, tier 0 gear fist, tier 0 flat fist. Is very tough to craft, so that's why you want the focus here. Max life and defense is good. Flat life is also good. Regen is good. Added fist is amazing. You want this here and you want it on the gloves as well. I kind of goof with this craft. but I would want, you know, tier 1 this or tier 0 this. That would be a lot of damage. And again, you want some regen. Elemental and Erosion Rest is a great mod on the rings because it basically allows you to ease up the pain of having resistance suffixes elsewhere. There anything else in terms of gear? I think that's it. You know, for the weapon, again, gear fees, gear fees, gear fees. Minimum channel stacks +6. Once you get to +6, you drop the channel prep, which is better for damage. You get attack speed, very important, and you could get whatever other suffix. Gear crit is not the best thing here. The best thing here... Oh, I almost destroyed my weapon. Okay. The best thing here is Focus Blessing stacks. Focus Blessing +3 or, you know, elevated. Sprinkle is good. Chance for double damage is good. This mod is basically 200% crit damage. Super strong. You know, just regular crit damage. 160. Really good. And yeah, don't get dexterity, don't get strength. Intelligence is worthless for us. Skill radius will be really good. Like 192 skill radius will be actually very, very fun to have. So that's in terms of gearing. Let's move to the passive tree section.
The stars spiral
So,
eternally.
passive tree.
never resting.
We are focusing completely in the God of Might tree. God of War, sorry. God of War tree. Basically, what we want here is to focus on getting physical damage, on getting attack speed, getting crit chance, crit damage, and some armor, max life, life recovery, life regain. All of those things you will get. We don't get evasion. We don't get block. Either of those are useless. We don't need cast speed, and we don't need trauma damage or anything related to ailments. So, is this the most optimal? This is what I found I like getting here. But if you want to super min-maxing and calculate every single point, you could do that. I didn't go to that. But this is what I thought made sense to get. Which is in the God of War, just getting again, crit damage, crit strike, armor, life. These nodes are really good. This is good. This is good until you craft the Fervor gloves. If you're using the Praise for Injury for clear, then you need this. And this is really good. So basically, whenever you get hit by a big enemy, you just get a little bit of life back. Attack speed and crit damage, really good. So here we're focusing on brutality. That stops you from doing elemental damage, but not erosion. So the mod on the weapon that says like gear fees and physical as extra erosion does give you damage, but I wouldn't go out of my way to get physical as extra erosion. I just wanted to mention that it's not useless. And here for clear, if you're using Praise for Injury, you use this because you don't have any other way of getting fervor. Once you have the fervor gloves, you switch to this. And then you don't have to get armor damage mitigation anywhere else. Armor damage mitigation penetration anywhere else. Because you ignore armor, because you're always critting. And this, so armor got changed, is now so good of a defense that this gives us insane amounts of damage at the ability to ignore armor. This trauma damage dealt from critical strikes doesn't matter. We're not scaling trauma, so just you want this, ignore armor. That's all that matters. For the second tree, grabbing Ranger. And here, again, life, some regain, skill radius. I want some skill radius here. I want some, this attack and movement speed is really good, feels really good. Then this life regain interval is pretty good for you to be able to sustain your build a little bit further. Weapon crits, armor, and less damage taken from nearby enemies, really strong. And here you get, the Calling Strike, eliminate enemies, really good for bossing. Some crit damage. And additional damage. Any source of additional damage is worth having. It's really strong. And you know, fervor scaling, we get fervor effect and damage per fervor. And oh yeah, very important. Before you can do the calculation of how much crit you have, but before you cap your crit, I would use gravity. I wouldn't use Luke, but there could be a case where you need keep it up to have a 100% crit rating. But once you're happy with the amounts of crits you're getting, just go to impending, is more damage. Regarding Ronin, so Ronin, we have a few options here. We have Sprinkle for better clear, but on T8 I like not dying, so Centralize basically makes you take like 25% less damage most of the time. So it's really good. And here is trade-off is a lot of damage. I cannot understate how much damage you get from trade-off. Basically, it requires you to balance dexterity and strength. And the way you can do that is you need to get a few, like my amulet is giving me strength, so I need to get dexterity to compensate. So that's why my belt has dexterity. You could do that on the boots, you could do it, you know, anywhere else on the gear. If you don't have strength here, you don't need dex here. The idea is to have these at the exact same value. And you will also have to play a little bit with the passive tree, because if you notice up here, you would see that from allocating points in this passive tree, we're getting 74 strength and 37 dex. So Ronin gives us more strength than dex, whereas Ranger gives us more dex than strength. So if you see that, maybe let's remove this point. If I remove this point, you will see that now I have slightly more dex than strength. So by putting a point here in Ronin, I will be gaining 1 dex and 2 strength. So basically balance them the values of God of War gives you the exact amount of strength and dex, and actually int as well. So here it doesn't really matter. Every point will give you the same. But you know, you have to play around with Ranger and Ronin. If you use another tree instead of Ronin, then you will have to figure out how to balance it, honestly. That being said, here in Ronin, I think the most important things is this, the reduced percentage skill costs and the flat reduced skill cost makes it so Whirlwind costs 0 mana, Leap costs 0 mana, and again this we're destroying the mana cost, and this we're casting with life. So we don't spend mana, we don't need mana, so that makes it so we can reserve all of it. Really good. This is very strong. Getting some armor is good. The other important thing is fervor effect and the ability to gain fervor on crit. So whenever you get hit with Centralize, you immediately go back to 100 fervor. So this is very strong. Then, you know, more attack speed, and you need this before you get it either on your candles. So your candle can have chance to generate steep strike attempts from 20 to 35. You only need 25. So if you get a candle with 25, you can use that. Otherwise, you can get it on a slate as I am. You can get it here, or you can get it in any other slate. The idea is that you need to have 100% chance to steep strike. If you don't, you will see, if you're missing some chance, you will see that Whirlwind will be doing stuff like sometimes not giving you the Wind Blade. Look at that. Now look at this. See? Always Wind Blade. So that's what having steep strike attempts does for you. It's really good to have. So you either get it here, if you get it elsewhere, you can refund this point and put it wherever. We get life, we get fervor effect. Again, nothing related to block because you cannot block. 200. You can block with a 200 weapon, but the two-handed weapon doesn't have any block chance, so you will have to get block chance. Well, I don't really know if you can block with a two-handed weapon. I don't think it works. So I just don't get block. You can get radius if you want. If you want your Whirlwind to be bigger, you can trade some damage and attack speed for radius if you so desire. But this is what I went for. Now, Divinity Slates are it's high variance. It's SSF. You cannot trade for good Divinity Slates, only the unique ones. So you have to get lucky with branding. This is what I got. What I would prioritize in the Divinity Slates is sealed mana, at least one of these mods, which is own additional stacks. You can get a slate that already has this, or you can roll it randomly through luck. But it only drops on God of Machines Divinity, so you would want one of these. You want a pedigree with quick ritual, because it's additional attack speed and it's one minimum channel stack. That makes it so you don't have to get an amulet or a ring with a minimum channel stack. So you, with this +6 with the weapon and this +1, you're always at 8. Really good. By the way, I dropped this. I don't know how much this will cost. If I was looking for this, I would probably pay like 1,000 FE for it. But don't quote me on that. I think it's perfect. It's basically perfect for me. That's why I'm using this one, because I dropped it. But ideally, you would settle for just getting quick ritual and maybe one non-useless mod, and one mod that isn't breaking for you. If you get physical damage converted to any sort of elemental, that you can read that as you deal less damage. That's what that means. So you don't want any mod that breaks your build. Just get something that is useful alongside quick ritual. Then any type of additional damage modifiers will be good. Sort of this additional damage against cursed enemies, additional damage applied to life. This was a very very lucky slate to get. +1 to all skills, again lucky. You only get +1 in Goddess of Deception. +1 focus blessings will be good to get. You get that in Goddess of Knowledge. Life is good, regen is good, aura effect is good, armor, movement speed, attack speed, crit damage, fist damage, damage with channeling. Basically, a lot of things you can get. This order and chaos, I didn't intend on going for order, but I stopped getting. I got it here, and I had before another. Before getting this, I had another that has the additional damage per order. That's why I bought this, to help alleviate the order decrease reduction. But with slates, there are some min-maxing setups that are way better than this, like getting some corners, getting some what is the name of that slate? The unique slates, legendary. This, getting some fallen starlights, getting some spark of moth's fire. There is basically an infinite amount of combinations that will be good here. So I just gave you a list for things that you might be looking for, but again, you don't have to look for those things exactly. You can experiment here, and if you find something that's better than this, let me know. I will be very interested to see insanely min-max late setups. That's what I love about this game. Now, hero traits and relics. I cannot forget this. We're going for another prophecy, going for predicted judgment. You don't get a choice here. Before you get the bitter fruit of omniscience, just use this. It's better. It helps you sustain your other charges. As you get bitter fruit, you switch to this, and you're always going to use farewell prophecy. Don't ever use this unless you're building for it. but you know, the way I'm setting up is not built for this, so this is more damage, way more damage. I want Place of the Oracle for max focus blessing. Is this the best one? Is this the best thing you can have here? Perhaps. I think it is, but it might not be. Again, if you play around with this and you find something that is, you know, ridiculously strong, again, I would really love to know. But I just went for whatever I think made sense and wasn't ridiculously expensive, except for the bitter fruit, because I wanted to try it out. This mod, I think, is mandatory for this build. Chance to get focus blessing on crit strikes, because we don't have focus blessing generation on the tree or on our gear. So this is how we solve the having focus blessings all the time. And I think this mod is one of the best ones you can get. This makes it so you're doing divine punishment twice as much, because it can cut your cooldown of divine punishment by half. It's like basically like having 100% cooldown recovery speed, which 100% CDR is very hard to get. So for one mod, getting that is very good. The caveat is that you have to be at max stacks, but we're setting for it. So if you follow this same setup with this and you use this, you can use this without giving much thought to it, and you'll be fine. That being said, you need to have at least double the amount of focus blessings as you have agility or tenacity blessings. So if you have, the baseline is 4. If you have 4 tenacity blessings, you need to have 8 focus blessings. If you have 5, you need to have 10. If you have 6, you need to have 12, and so on. So that whenever you spend the blessings with divine punishment, you gain half of the focus blessings you spent as tenacity and agility blessings. And that way you'll see it. See how the divine punishment cooldown is just caught by, you know, it starts already charged, doesn't go all the way down. So that's why what that is doing for us. Thank you so much for watching the build guide up until this point. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe. I will be posting more Torchlight content and might be posting any other ARPG content as well. And I hope you have a great one and enjoy the game as much as I do.